Welcome to Econ 317. In this video, we will go over a suggested solution to the review questions for Midterm 2. And the question we are going to go over is the profit maximization. So in this problem, we are given that the total cost is 200Q plus 6Q square, where Q is the output. Produced by the firm. Also, the inverse demand faced by the firm is given as price being equal to 1200 minus 4Q. So P is the price, Q is the output produced by the firm, and no output sold in the firm, or quantity demanded by all the buyers in the market. So this is the inverse demand. Given this, we will like to first find out the total revenue firm earns by selling output Q, which is price multiplied by Q, that is 1200 minus 4Q multiplied by quantity. So I will distribute this term Q to both the terms in the parenthesis. So 1200 times Q is 1200Q. Then I have a minus, so minus 4Q times Q is 4Q square. So now I have got the total revenue as a function of quantity. I also know the total cost as a function of the quantity. So the price when firm sells quantity Q is the total revenue for quantity Q minus total cost for quantity Q. And so now I have both the expressions. I will write them down here. Total revenue is 1200Q minus 4Q square minus, it is a good idea to write down the total cost in parentheses because we have two terms included in the cost. So I'll write down 200Q plus 6Q square, and that's within the parentheses. We can simplify. So I have 1200Q minus 4Q square minus, so since we have a minus in front of the parenthesis, each term will change the sign of each term inside the parenthesis. So if there is no sign here, it is plus, so this becomes minus 200Q, and then I have plus 6Q square, it becomes minus 6Q square. Now we can collect terms. So 1200Q minus 200Q is 1000Q minus, I have 4Q square here, 6Q square here. So minus 4 and minus 6 becomes minus 10Q square. That's the profit the firm will earn if it sells output Q. And this is what the firm wants to maximize. So I will write it. Maximize 1000Q minus 10Q square, and by choosing output Q, which is non-negative. For this maximization problem, I'll write down the first order condition. So this is my profit as a function of Q. We will write down the first order condition as the derivative of the profit function with respect to Q must be equal to 0. So let's take the derivative of 1000Q. So the first term gives us the outcome 1000 minus the second term becomes 10 times 2 times q to the power 2 minus 1, and that must be equal to 0. So I can simplify. I have 1000 minus 10 times 2 is 20. Q to the power 2 minus 1 is q to the power 1, and we don't write power 1. So the term simplifies this way. And so this is one equation, one unknown we can solve. So I'll move this minus 20q to the other side, which means I will add 20q to both sides of the equal sign. What I obtain on the left, only 1000. On the right, 0 plus 20q is 20q. Now we can divide both sides by 20 because I need q by itself. So on the right hand side I have got q. On the left hand side, 1000 over 20 is 50. So this firm, if it is maximizing profit, must be selling output q. I will write it as q star equal to 50. Now I can find out all the remaining terms. So given q star equal to 50, I can find out the price. Remember, price is 1200 minus 4q. So this gives me 1200 minus 4 times 50. 1200 minus 4 times 50, 200. So I obtain now the P star is 1000. So now I've got price P star 1000, quantity Q star 50, and so this is the outcome which will maximize the profit. We can also compute the maximum profit pi star, and I can do it two ways. First I will go back to the expression we have already obtained for the profit, which was 1000 q minus 10 q square. So I can plug the value of q here. 1000 times 50 minus 10 times 50 square, which is 1000 times 50 minus 10 times 50 square is 50 multiplied by itself 2 times, 2500. So I have the first term 50,000, the second term 25,000, and so the maximum profit turns out to be 25,000. So pi star is 25,000. So that's our complete answer. Let's write it. Q star 50, P star 1000, pi star 25,000. We could also have calculated the profit as the difference of the total revenue and total cost, and that part I will leave it for you to verify that we will obtain the same answer even if we follow that one. And so this is a good point to stop.